Chapter 61 It's because you're too bad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the evening session opened, Chen Changliu put aside school matters and stared at the beating of each number on the computer screen. After the continuous daily limit in my memory, Di's market price rose amid shocks, so Chen Changliu must be more cautious from today on. If he can't hold the position overnight, he will not hold the position overnight. When the profit is good, he will take action. An hour after late trading, the price finally broke through the 3,200 level and began to rise slowly. When there were still 15 minutes left before the market closed, the price of D rose to 32.50. Chen Changliu directly sold them all. In the end, he made a net profit of 400,000 and his total assets reached 2.55 million. After selling and closing the position, the price of D continued to rise, and the final closing price was 32.62. Chen Changliu didn't feel it was a pity either, because greed was a taboo. After their total assets exceeded 2.55 million, Chen Changliu and Kumeng slept particularly soundly that night. The next day Kumeng went to work by himself, but Chen Changliu stayed at home. He needed an environment where no one would disturb him. As soon as being opened at 32.35, it fell 20 points from last night's closing price, and then continued to rise. After reaching a maximum of 3,245, it fell rapidly again. It plummeted 70 points all the way, reaching the lowest level of 3,175. Chen Changliu was frightened when he saw it. He didn't know how many people had been cut off. Chen Changliu was near 3180 and bought 800 lots at an average price of 3,182. In the afternoon, he sold all the positions at a price of 3,233, making a net profit of 440,000. At this point, Chen Changliu's total assets reached 2.99 million. After closing the position, Chen Changliu finally breathed a sigh of relief. The futures market in the past 2 days was too scary. It rose or fell by 70 or 80 points at every turn. Fortunately, he knew that in the past few days, D prices rose and fell very much in many cases. It's big, so I'm going to buy long when the price drops a lot, otherwise I won't feel comfortable. The futures market is closed on Saturday, the 18th. At 10 o'clock in the morning, in a townhouse area in Yangcheng, Ku's father and Ku's mother welcomed 3 staff members from the finance company. As for the staff, except for the one in the middle who wears glasses and looks more elegant, the other 2 have rough faces, and they don't look good at first glance. Boss Ku, the 2 million you borrowed from our financial company is due today. How about it? Is there no problem in settling it today? The man wearing glasses said with a smile on his face. Ku's mother's face was a little unnatural, but Ku's father was still calm and collected. Mr. Huang, no problem, my daughter will take care of it when she comes over later. Upon hearing Father Ku's words, Manager Huang's eyes flashed with light, but the expression on his face did not change. Okay, that's good. This way I can explain to the company. No. Then a few people sat in the living room and chatted around, but until it was almost 10 o'clock, Kumeng was nowhere to be seen, and all the calls he made were turned off. Ku's mother was a little anxious and worried. Lao Ku, will Menger be okay? I'm so anxious. Why is this girl turning off her phone? Father Ku knew what she meant, patted her hand and said, don't worry, she is not a child anymore and will take care of herself. And since you were a child, when did you see Menger talking nonsense in front of such a big event? Manager Huang could no longer laugh. Boss Ku, what's going on? Are you kidding me? I don't have that much time to play with you. In fact, Boss Ku, we already know everything about your factory, and there is no need for you to hide it. If you are unable to come up with so much cash for a while, our company is not unreasonable. We have another repayment plan for you. Do you want to listen to it? When Father Ku heard what Manager Huang said, he nodded and said, oh, let's talk about it. Okay, cool, Boss Ku. According to the original agreement, the total including principal and interest is 2 million, right? Father Ku nodded. The IOU he originally wrote was 2 million, but it was principal plus interest. 1.7 million principal for 6 months and 300,000 interest. According to what the finance company said, the monthly interest was 3 cents, but they wiped out the fraction for him. The plan proposed by our company is that Boss Ku can transfer your villa to our company, so that the money and goods can be settled. how about it? Our company is humane enough and understands our customers well. You must know that the current real estate environment is not ideal, and housing prices have dropped a lot compared to last year, so the plan proposed by the company is to take care of Boss Ku. Hearing Manager Huang's words, even Ku's father became a little uneasy, let alone Ku's mother, who screamed excitedly. This is not okay. When we bought it the year before last, we spent 2.8 million. This does not include the decoration money. You are robbing it. After hearing what Ku's mother said, Manager Huang's face darkened and he said calmly. Mrs. Ku, don't talk nonsense, we are law-abiding citizens, there is no robbery, besides, as long as you pay back the money, it will be fine. We don't have to have your house. But Boss Ku, if you don't give me an explanation today, this matter will not go away, don't think about it. Boss Ku is also a sensible person and knows that our financial company has other means to make creditors pay back their money. Ku's father looked ugly. It seemed that they were eyeing his own house. It was not that he had never thought of selling it before to tide over the difficulties, but now that the real estate industry is in a slump, he couldn't deal with it in the short term, and the price had dropped a bit. The maximum amount that can be sold now is 2.2 million. If this happens, the house will lose 1 million. This knife is too painful. This house can be said to be the only thing left after the Ku family sold other assets to compensate the Lin family. If it weren't for his precious daughter saying that she had found someone to solve the problem, based on his understanding of his daughter, she was telling the truth. Otherwise, even if it hurt too much, even if he could only rent a house after selling it, he would have to do it. Manager Huang, wait a moment, my daughter will come to solve it. The repayment time is today, and there is no stipulated time. Manager Huang frowned when he heard what Ku's father said, but still nodded and agreed. On the other side, Chen Changliu and Kumeng didn't wake up until 10 o'clock in the morning. It's all your fault. You've been tossing around. You got up late, huh? Kumeng complained to Chen Changliu while getting up and charging his mobile phone. Can you blame me for this? Senior sister, you are more addicted than me, okay? It's just because you are too bad. Oh, okay, I won't say anything, okay. Chen Changliu, who was beaten just after telling the truth, quickly admitted his defeat. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 62 I don't want to be your kept woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Chen Changliu followed Kumeng into the villa, it was already 11 o'clock, and the atmosphere in the house was a bit tense. Ku's father and Ku's mother saw Kumeng walking in with a young man, and they knew that this was the person their daughter said was going to help solve the problem, but even so, the two of them couldn't help but look at Chen Changliu, because both the incident itself and the intimacy shown by the two now showed that the relationship between the two was not shallow, and it was impossible for the two of them not to look at Chen Changliu more. However, both of them were very satisfied with Chen Changliu's image and temperament. Meng'er, you're finally here, you damn girl. I made so many calls to you before, but why are you always turning off your phone? Who is this? Ku's mother stepped forward and took Kumeng's hand, a little reproachful, and then looked at Chen Changliu curiously. Chen Changliu said with a smile, Hello, aunt, my name is Chen Changliu. Hello, sit down, I'll get you some water. Chen Changliu was not polite. After greeting Ku's father again, he nodded to Kumeng. Kumeng also nodded. Mom and Dad, let's settle the matter first, and we'll talk about it later. After finishing speaking, he turned to Manager Huang and said, Hello, have you brought the IOU written by my father? In fact, when Kumeng walked in, Manager Huang's eyes were fixed on Kumeng most of the time. The charming woman, especially under the influence of Chen Changliu recently, can be said to be more attractive. Seeing Kumeng talking about business, he adjusted his mentality and nodded. Bring it. Then he took out an IOU and showed it to Ku's father. After Kumeng received Ku's father's confirmation, Chen Changliu took over. An hour later, Chen Changliu returned to the Ku family. Chen Changliu directly paid back all 2 million, not just part of it, but before Manager Huang left, he took out a business card and handed it to Chen Changliu and said, Brother, this is my business card. Let's have afternoon tea together when you have time. Chen Changliu smiled slightly and came over and said, Okay. After entering Kumeng's house, Kumeng pulled him to sit opposite Ku's father and Ku's mother. Chen Changliu took out the IOU and handed it to Ku's father. "Uncle, this is an IOU. Take a look at it and destroy it." Father Ku said gratefully, "Thank you, Xiao Chen, you helped our family solve a big problem." Ku's mother also kept thanking him with a smile on her face. The more she looked at Chen Changliu, the more satisfied she became. At this time, Kumeng went to find paper and pen, and said to Ku's father, "Mom and Dad, we still have to write an IOU to Chen Changliu. Although he is my friend, we can't just take the money with peace of mind. This must be paid back." Kumeng's words made Chen Changliu look at her deeply, and he had a deeper understanding of Kumeng. Ku's father and Ku's mother were stunned for a moment, then came back to their senses immediately. Yes, I'm so confused that I forgot such an important thing." After Ku's father finished speaking, he quickly wrote an IOU and found some ink pads to put his fingerprints on. After all this was done, he handed the IOU to Chen Changliu and thanked him again. Chen Changliu did not refuse, but accepted it generously, and had lunch at Ku's house before leaving with Kumeng. Walking on the road in the community, he looked at Kumeng beside him. He found that Kumeng's smile was more pure now, as if he had let go of something in his heart. Chen Changliu took her hand and gave her the IOU. "You can keep this yourself, or tear it off." Kumeng looked at the IOU in his hand, then looked at Chen Changliu affectionately, and said quietly, "Are you wondering why I did this? According to the previous agreement with you, I will be your woman and you will help our families settle the 2 million debt. Chen Changliu, do you know? I also found that I fell in love with you, but every time I think about this, I always feel that I'm just being supported by you. No, I don't want to be the woman you keep, I just want to be your woman, a woman without any interests. I believe my father can pay back the money. Do you know when you accept an IOU?" At that moment, all the shackles on my body were lifted. I was no longer the woman you kept with your wallet, although it is still dark, it has nothing to do with money. Chen Changliu, I love you, and you, do you love me or not? Kumeng looked a little excited but stared at him closely. He didn't think Kumeng was being pretentious. After all, in the world of emotions, who can see clearly, especially girls, who are sometimes selfish, even if she knew she had a girlfriend, would she definitely put herself in the position of a third party? For the first time, Chen Changliu discovered that this woman was also very thoughtful. It seemed that she usually cared too little about her. Could it be that sensuality was more important than emotion? Chen Changliu thought that this fairy was too charming, but Chen Changliu also admitted that he loved Kumeng. He actually agreed with the saying that love lasts for a long time. After all, men are more philanthropic. Carpe diem, let's solve the problem when it arises. I am a reborn cheater. What's wrong with having one more relationship? Otherwise, I'm wasting the opportunity given by God. No matter what thoughts she has, it still depends on how she solves the problem in the end. After asking himself clearly, Chen Changliu hugged Kumeng into his arms. Kumeng looked up at her stubbornly, waiting for an answer. Chen Changliu stared into her eyes and said word by word, "Kumeng, I love you too." After saying that, they kissed each other. This time, the kiss was not so ambiguous, but a kind of emotional sublimation. Kumeng responded enthusiastically, but tears flowed from the corners of her eyes, tears of joy. When the two of them walked hand in hand on the street, Chen Changliu teased, "Hey, senior sister, can I ask you a question?" "Say." "What do you mean I don't want to be your woman, I just want to be your woman?" "Ah." The suicidal Chen Changliu was caught directly, however, the happy laughter of the two people was heard on the street. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 63 Showing Off Your Girlfriend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhiqiu has been a bit annoyed recently. She always feels that Chen Changliu is not so attentive to her, especially after the National Day holiday. The daily call time is not as sticky as before. Today is Sunday. Because her mother is on a business trip these 2 days, she will not go home on the weekend. This bastard did not understand her hint on the phone last night to come to see her today. Humph. Since the beginning of the school year, because her mother was transferred to Yangqing, she has to go home many weekends, so she has fewer dates with Chen Changliu. The more she thought about it, the more unhappy she became. Her mouth pouted, and the expression on her face was just short of writing the word unhappy. Shen Rong slept in late and finally woke up with sleepy eyes. As soon as she got out of bed, she saw Zhiqiu sitting there sulking. What's wrong? Who made our beautiful Zhiqiu angry? Did that Chen Changqing send you a message again? Hearing Shen Rong's words, Zhiqiu rolled her eyes at her and continued to sulk, but she was also speechless about this matter. I don't know where Chen Changqing got her mobile number from. He calls her every 2 or 3 days. If she doesn't answer, he sends her text messages. He also creates various encounters. It can be said that he is very persistent. However, the more he does this, the more she dislikes Chen Changqing. This person definitely has moral problems. Seeing Zhiqiu's expression, Shen Rong knew it was not because of this matter. She laughed and said, "Then I guessed it. It must be your little puppy who provoked you. Go to hell, you are the little puppy. Zhiqiu, you have become bad. I know it's not as big as yours, but you don't have to be so direct. Oh, I'm sad." The topics women talk about together are bolder than men. After laughing for a while, Zhiqiu said, Rong, I feel that Chen Changliu doesn't care about me as much as before. Humph, I hinted to him last night that he would come to me today, but I don't know if he didn't understand or pretended not to understand. I think he is pretending. He is so smart, how could he not understand? And, during this period, the time we talked each time was not as long as before. Shen Rong, who had no practice but only theoretical knowledge, chatted quietly with Zhiqiu, who had both practice and cognition. Zhiqiu, let me ask you a question. Did he do anything to you when you two were alone together? Shen Rong's words made Zhiqiu blush, and he stammered, yes. What do you mean by yes? I ask you, did you lose the upper part? Zhiqiu blushed and began to lower his head, and said hesitantly, yes. Then have you done that? Zhiqiu almost put his head on his chest, no. Hearing this, Shen Rong clapped her hands and said, that's right, I guess he must be hanging you because you rejected him. Don't worry, this is a strategy. You can't fall for it, however, you can't just leave it alone. Next time, when you two are dating, you can give him some sweetness appropriately, but remember, don't give yourself to him too early. Even though Zhiqiu has a high IQ, Shen Rong's theory still makes her stunned, but there are some things she doesn't agree with. But now in this situation, she can only listen, but only she knows how much she has listened. At this moment, Zhiqiu's cell phone rang. She picked it up and smiled immediately. Shen Rong knew who was calling without having to guess. As soon as the call was connected, Chen Changliu said directly without waiting for Zhiqiu to speak, I'm downstairs in your dormitory. Are you surprised? Hearing Chen Changliu's words, Zhiqiu ran to the window and looked down, and saw the figure that often appeared in her dreams was at the door of the girls' dormitory. She instantly showed a bright smile on her face. Wait for me for a while, I'll change my clothes and go down. Then she started to choose clothes and put on makeup in a hurry, which made Shen Rong speechless. Is this still the Zhiqiu who usually wears a plain face? It's not just Chen Changliu who is waiting for someone outside the girls' dormitory. There are also many boys waiting for someone, all looking in the same direction with expectation. Of course, some are waiting for their partners, and some really come to see beautiful women and see if there is any peach blossom luck. One of the students, who had a middle-parted hairstyle and wore glasses, and looked a bit like a traitor, said to Chen Changliu. Dude, are you here to wait for someone too? I don't see your face. Are you from Zhongde University? Oh, I'm not from Zhongde University. Why do you say I'm here to wait for someone instead of to see a beauty? Hee, you look decent and a bit handsome, almost comparable to me. How could you be here to try your luck in love? You must be here to wait for your girlfriend. How about it? Which department is your girlfriend from? Hee, my girlfriend is the most beautiful girl in the class. Looking at this guy who talked freely, felt good about himself, and had a bit of a familiar personality, Chen Changliu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Anyway, Zhiqiu couldn't come down for more than 3 or 2 minutes. After all, no matter what kind of woman she is, she still has to maintain her image in front of her boyfriend, and she can still brag to this guy. Hey, brother, I am indeed here to wait for my girlfriend. I don't know how pretty your girlfriend is, but I can say that my girlfriend is definitely prettier than your girlfriend. Hey, you are interesting, but I don't believe it. If you have the guts, tell me your girlfriend's name. There is no need to tell me the name. You will know it when you meet her, because she is your school beauty. TSK, brother, you are bragging too much. Don't talk nonsense. You will offend everyone. You are from another school and you picked our school beauty. Haha, this joke is not funny. Do you know how many people are pursuing him in the school? The man with a middle part was still talking about how popular Zhiqiu was in Zhongda, and Chen Changliu's bragging also made the men who were waiting for him look at him. Although this man is a bit handsome, you can tell from the clothes he wears that they are all cheap goods from street stalls. He will be the boyfriend of the school beauty. Don't joke. Although there are rumors that the school beauty Zhiqiu has a boyfriend, no one really believes it, and it is said that the president of the student union in the 3rd year of the school is pursuing her. That is the object of admiration of many girls in Zhongda, who is beautiful, talented, and rich. He once gave flowers to Zhiqiu in public, but even so, he was rejected. Even such a proud child of heaven did not succeed in picking this flower, so why can this boy in front of him? Whether it was the middle-parted guy who never stopped talking or the guys waiting for someone, they all thought Chen Changliu was a boaster. P.S. I will update the typos first and then correct them. Chapter 64, My girlfriend is prettier than your girlfriend, right? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just when Chen Changliu was chatting with the man with glasses, suddenly everyone looked at the door of the girls' dormitory, and no one blinked. Chen Changliu also looked over and saw Zhiqiu walking out. Today, Zhiqiu wears a light-colored silhouette shirt with a white t-shirt underneath, blue 9-point jeans on the bottom, and white shoes. 9-point length jeans can also bring out a woman's tall figure and slender thighs, especially for Zhiqiu, who has the golden ratio and is 1.72 meters tall. These slim-fitting blue 9-point jeans have great elasticity and are very comfortable on the upper body. Reveals leg shape and length, and perfectly displays the curves of the lower body. The outfit of her upper body perfectly combines her tranquility and youthful atmosphere, coupled with the light makeup on her face. Her exquisite facial features and perfect figure directly attracted all the male animals near the door of the girls' dormitory. The man in the glasses was almost drooling, and he murmured, "Damn, she's so beautiful. The one in my family looks like a yellow-faced woman compared to the school beauty." Suddenly, he looked at Chen Changliu again and said, "Brother, didn't you say your girlfriend is the school beauty? Did you see that goddess over there? She is the school beauty of our CUHK. Why don't you call her and see if she agrees to it?" As he spoke, he looked at Chen Changliu's expression with a smile. He now wanted to see this bragging guy deflated. "I don't dare to call her name, but I dare to do other things. Watch out." After saying that, he walked towards Zhiqiu under the surprised gaze of the man with center-parted glasses. Zhiqiu also saw Chen Changliu at this time, waving as he walked towards him. However, there were many people in Chen Changliu's direction, so people in this direction thought that the school beauty was waving to them, and their faces became excited. But 10 seconds later, everyone opened their eyes and opened their mouths wide, looking in the same direction with disbelief. Among them was a man with center-parted glasses. He stood there blankly and kept saying, "No, this is fake. How could he be the school beauty's boyfriend?" In the direction of their sight, Chen Changliu had already held Zhiqiu in his arms. It took him 10 seconds to let go of her, and then, with her bright smile, he took her hand. When passing by the man with glasses, Chen Changliu stopped, looked at him and said, "Brother, I'm sorry, but my girlfriend is prettier than your girlfriend, right? Hee, this means that I am more handsome and charming than you, right?" As he said that, he patted him on the shoulder. "It's okay, don't be hit. After all, it's not bad to find a class beauty as your girlfriend. After saying that, the man with center-parted glasses pulled a baffled Du Zhiqiu away with a frustrated look on his face. Along the way, Chen Changliu did not let go of Du Zhiqiu's hand. It is estimated that after today, all the animals in CUHK will know that their school bell has been picked by someone else. What do you mean by what you just said to him? It's inexplicable. Do you know each other? Du Zhiqiu asked curiously. Chen Changliu shook his head and chuckled. I don't know him, but just now he showed off to me that his girlfriend, the class beauty, is very beautiful. How can I bear this? I'm kidding, my girlfriend is the school beauty, and I haven't even shown it off here yet. So, I just got a little slap in the face. As he spoke, he also told what happened just now, which made Du Zhiqiu laugh non-stop and pat his arm. You scoundrel, how could you do this? You are so wicked. Huh, what's that? No, I almost forgot. He said that there is a student union president who is handsome, talented and rich. He confessed his love to you in public. Hearing Chen Changliu's words, Du Zhiqiu looked at him, hoping to see a jealous expression on his face. Chen Changliu tried his best to cooperate and looked at her with a resentful expression. Du Zhiqiu felt satisfied. He held Chen Changliu's hand in his arms and shook it. He said coquettishly, yes, he is pursuing me and wants to put pressure on me in public. He has a boyfriend. Well, so I refused. Hey, you didn't know that he is very handsome and is the president of the student union. Gee, he is the Prince Charming in the eyes of most girls in our school. Hey, unlike some people, they don't pay attention at all. Now the phone calls are getting shorter and shorter, and they rarely come to see others. Chen Changliu was secretly delighted by the touch on his arm. Du Zhiqiu scolded Chen Changliu while talking, which made Chen Changliu so embarrassed that he had nothing to say. Could it be that he wants to say that because he just started eating meat and is now addicted to it, he won't be able to chat with you anymore? Hey, no more. I'm working part-time. I was a little busy some time ago. I'll be fine after this month. I promise to come see you every week in the future. When Du Zhiqiu heard that Chen Changliu said he was going to work part-time, her heart suddenly softened, because she knew that this seemingly very strong and optimistic boy had no one to rely on now and had to rely on himself for everything, so when she heard him say he was going to work part-time, her heart will feel a little distressed for no reason. Really? Do you have to work part-time? It will be very tiring. The money you earn is enough for your 4 years of college. I don't want you to be too tired. Chen Changliu could feel the distress in his words, and his heart felt inexplicably warm. When he was with Kumeng, his heart was also very fulfilling. Mainly because Kumeng lived in his world, so he felt very fulfilled. Although the kind-hearted girl in front of him did not have a closer relationship with him yet, she had already lived in his heart, so it was warm. As for which is more important, fulfillment or warmth, in fact, according to Chen Changliu's opinion, both are important, and it is best to be both fulfilling and warm. Chen Changliu pulled Du Zhiqiu's hand up, then kissed her hand, and said to Du Zhiqiu, whose ears turned red. Zhiqiu, I know you are doing this for my own good, but I must accumulate experience now. I will try to start a business during my college life, so it is necessary to accumulate certain experience, but I promise you that I will not make myself too tired, because I know that there is a beautiful and kind fairy who is worried about me. Du Zhiqiu saw that he could not convince Chen Changliu, so he changed the topic and chattered about some things in the school. Chen Changliu did not want to mention this matter. He did not want to tell Du Zhiqiu about his business now. If Kumeng had not been his assistant, he might have told her earlier. Now, he dared not let the two girls meet. After all, women's sixth sense is sometimes very scary. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 65 Chen Changliu, You Despise Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When he was with Chen Changliu, Du Zhiqiu was always so happy, it could be said that he was jumping up and down. When Chen Changliu looked at Du Zhiqiu like this, his heart was filled with vitality unconsciously. At Du Zhiqiu's strong request, the two had lunch at KFC. To be honest, Chen Changliu just tastes like that. I don't know why these girls' eyes light up when they eat KFC. After eating KFC, the two ran to the cinema and bought the Hollywood blockbuster The Incredible Hulk that was released 2.5 hours later. Chen Changliu didn't like this movie, but Du Zhiqiu was interested. After buying the movie tickets, Chen Changliu accompanied Du Zhiqiu to a nearby shopping mall. Chen Changliu originally thought that this afternoon would be a torture, and in fact it was, but it was a little different from what he thought. I thought it must be the women's clothing and cosmetics areas. But who knew that Du Zhiqiu would drag him into various men's clothing stores most of the time? Idiot, hurry up and try on this dress. No, I still have a lot of clothes there. Your place is full of summer clothes. Now that the temperature is getting cooler in the morning and evening, a sweatshirt is just right. Well, what else could Chen Changliu say? How could he refuse when he had such a considerate girlfriend, and what Du Zhiqiu said was correct. His clothes were indeed summer clothes, and they were all left over from when he set up a stall. At the end of October this year, the temperature difference between daytime and morning and evening in Yangqing was relatively large, ranging from 16 to 29 degrees. Chen Changliu began a painful modeling journey that lasted for a full 2 hours. In the end, Du Zhiqiu bought him 3 sets of clothes. When paying, Chen Changliu glared back when he tried to give him money. Well, the little rich woman still has some wealth, so Chen Changliu is not worried about this. At the end of this shopping trip, Du Zhiqiu didn't buy anything. According to her, she didn't lack anything. What else could Chen Changliu say? He just gave him a kiss. After walking out of the mall, Du Zhiqiu realized that she seemed quite tired. This was the first time she had visited a mall for such a long time. She rubbed her calves and her walking was not as brisk as when she first arrived. Tired? Du Zhiqiu pouted and said, yeah, I'm a little tired, maybe I've been standing for a long time. Hey, don't they say that you women can go shopping all afternoon without feeling tired? Since I'm tired, you still go shopping for so long and buy so many clothes for me. You don't know what those salesmen think of me. Hey, they all think I'm being taken care of by you. While scolding Du Zhiqiu, he walked to her and squatted down. Come up here, I'll carry you for a while, otherwise the movie will start soon. Du Zhiqiu looked at Chen Changliu, who was squatting with his back to her, and pouted his mouth, full of arrogance, and then smiled sweetly, but before lying on Chen Changliu's back, her cheeks were still flushed and she looked around shyly. She was shy and nervous. After all, it was broad daylight and there were so many people watching around. However, she still overcame her shyness and lay on Chen Changliu's back obediently. When her chest was pressed against Chen Changliu's back, a strange emotion spread throughout her body, and her face became even redder. Chen Changliu was also very happy. Of course he knew the scale after measuring it. He was secretly happy and said at the same time. Clamp your legs, yes, go up a little, yes, the position is right, clamp them. Chen Changliu's words made Du Zhiqiu directly bury his face in his back. Bad guy, gangster, driving again, huh? As he spoke, he weakly patted his shoulder twice. Chen Changliu grinned, what? You are thinking wrongly. If you don't hold me tight when I carry you, your legs will fall off. Well, it seems that our university beauty is not light either, weighing at least 120 pounds. As soon as Chen Changliu said these words, Du Zhiqiu couldn't bear it anymore. He slapped his back and said fiercely. Chen Changliu, you are only 120 kilograms, you are only 120 kilograms, and I am only 105 kilograms, okay? According to the standard of height and weight, I am light. Now that I am giving you a chance, am I heavy? That's it. I wrongly blamed the university's beauty. Well, I felt it again. You are indeed a bit thin and don't have much flesh. When Chen Changliu said this, he paused deliberately, and Du Zhiqiu, who was lying on his back, stopped again. Okay, Chen Changliu, you actually said that I have no meat and you dislike my poor figure, right? Humph, you dislike me, woo-woo. Put me down. Chen Changliu, whom Du Zhiqiu said he was attacking, said he wanted to come down, but he didn't even struggle. Although he knew she was pretending, Chen Changliu still had to have the attitude he should have. He slapped her on the hip and said, how dare I dislike you? I haven't finished speaking yet. Why are you in such a hurry? That I mean, you don't even have a trace of fat on your waist or thighs. The fat has been grown elsewhere, where are you thinking? It's not like I haven't experienced it, so how can I say that you are not in good shape? The last sentence made Zhiqiu lose his guard. Thinking of Chen Changliu's mischievous hands, he felt like his whole body went weak. She immediately broke through the defense and once again buried her head into Chen Changliu's broad and strong back. Only a weak voice came out. Rogue, but after a while, she popped her head out again. Are you tired? Is it too heavy? Put me down. I'm fine. What are you doing down here? You're not heavy, although the scale is still considerable in some places. Besides, with your weight, carrying you is like playing. I could carry 80 kilograms of water when I was 12 years old. Listening to Chen Changliu's casual and relaxed words, Zhiqiu did not argue with him. He quietly lay on Chen Changliu's back and silently felt his taste. The mall was not far from the cinema, only a few hundred meters, and it took only a few minutes to reach the downstairs of the cinema. This time Zhiqiu wanted to come down, and Chen Changliu did not stop him. With his strength and physical fitness, he only sweated a little while carrying Zhiqiu on his back, and he didn't even breathe. This is because he has done a lot of physical work since he was a child and spent all day on the court. This journey is still a kind of enjoyment for him, and everyone who knows it knows it. Of course, it is another matter for those pretty boys who can't even carry 100 kilograms or are out of breath after walking a few steps. P.S. The typos will be updated first and corrected later. Chapter 66 I Have Body Odor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Hulk was released on October 10th. How should I put it? I have seen too many Hollywood movies in the later generations, and now I don't feel anything. Zhiqiu was watching with great interest. Not long after, Chen Changliu fell asleep directly, and leaned on Zhiqiu's shoulder unconsciously. Zhiqiu saw that Chen Changliu fell asleep while watching a movie with him. She pouted and wanted to wake him up, but she saw Chen Changliu's quiet sleeping face in the light from the screen, and she remembered that it was the same in the taxi at that time. Zhiqiu looked around. There were not many people. They were in a corner and no one paid attention to them. She carefully picked up the middle armrest, then held Chen Changliu's head in her arms with her hands, and then gently stroked his head. Chen Changliu opened his eyes dazedly after seeing Zhiqiu's series of actions, but soon fell asleep again. He slept soundly with the smell of milk and Zhiqiu stroking his head, which was his favorite. When the movie was about to end, Chen Changliu finally woke up. He looked up to see Zhiqiu, but he saw the mountain peaks. Then Zhiqiu soon felt that a pig was nudging in her arms, and it was nudging sensitive parts. She knew that the person in her arms had woken up, and was about to push him away. She thought of what Shenrong said, giving him some sweetness, and then letting Chen Changliu take advantage of her. If she knew that Shenrong had done such a good thing, she would definitely give her a thumbs up, but when she felt that Chen Changliu's evil hands had upgraded and had reached barrier-free contact, she finally couldn't help it. She knocked Chen Changliu's head, then stopped her evil hand, took it out, and pushed Chen Changliu, who was lying in his arms, up, whispering. Humph, pervert. Chen Changliu was not embarrassed at all, smelling his hand and asked. Wife, let me ask you a question. Bah, who is your wife, shameless? How much is your face worth? Anyway, I call you wife. If anyone has any objections, please keep them. By the way, let me ask you a question. Why do you have a milky smell on your body? Is there a perfume with this smell? Chen Changliu's question made Zhiqiu blush, but she still said. I don't spray perfume, this is my body odor, which is natural. Really? He, body odor, tut, fragrant little princess. That when the movie ended, it was already dark, and the two went to eat steak together again. After eating and drinking, they walked on the street. This time, Chen Changliu flattened his mouth and chattered like a complaining woman. You really have to go back to the dormitory? Yeah. You really don't want me anymore? Not tonight. How can you bear to let me go back alone? I can bear it. Aren't you afraid that your handsome husband will be snatched away by those beautiful seniors? It's okay. If you have the ability, let them snatch it away. I believe in my charm. Zhiqiu's face was almost full of laughter. Seeing Chen Changliu being humiliated, she found it funny. Okay, I have to go back to the dormitory. They must know that I went out with you. If I don't go back, they will definitely laugh at me. Bullshit, who dares to laugh, I will deal with her. After finally comforting Chen Changliu, they have already reached the dormitory door. Looking at the aggrieved Chen Changliu, Zhiqiu took the initiative to kiss him on the lips, and then went in with a silver bell-like laughter. Chen Changliu was destined to stay alone in the empty room tonight. I don't know if Kumeng was because she went on a date or really called by her mother. Anyway, she sent him a text message saying that she would go home for dinner and would not come back tonight. That night, Chen Changliu slept in a plain bed. This was the first time that Kumeng had been with him. He was used to sleeping with a fragrant and soft beauty in his arms. Now that he didn't have that, he was not used to it. He tossed and turned until the early morning before he fell asleep. The next morning, he got up, ran in the morning, had breakfast, went home and took a shower, then sat in front of the computer. The futures market opened today, and the price of soybean number 1 opened at 32.06, down 19 points from the closing price of 3,235 on the 17th. And after the opening, the price continued to fall until it reached 3,175 before stopping, and then the price was pulled around 31.80. At this time, Chen Changliu bought 252 lots with 80% of his position. After helping Kumeng's family pay off the debt, his total account assets were only 990,000. He bought with 80% of his position, which was also after careful consideration. Although he knew that the price of soybean number 1 would still rise in fluctuations, the large amplitude on that day also frightened him. He still remembered what the successful person said at that time. The daily fluctuations during this period are so large that they are rare in history. So he had to leave 20% of his funds to cover his positions, otherwise he would suffer a big loss if he was forced to close his positions by the futures company. There was no improvement in the early trading of soybeans, and it was not until the afternoon trading that the price of soybeans began to rise slowly. In the evening, Kumeng finally came back. Chen Changliu did not see anything wrong in her expression, and it might be hidden. Seeing that Chen Changliu had been looking at her with suspicion, Kumeng hugged him unhappily and bit his shoulder. She waited until a tooth mark was bitten before letting go, and pushed him away and said, "Little pervert, are you thinking that I am jealous? I am angry." Chen Changliu stroked the shoulder with the tooth mark and nodded him. Kumeng smiled. She walked forward and hugged Chen Changliu again. Then, in his surprised eyes, she blew air on the bitten place, and then kissed it, using her tongue. Chen Changliu took a breath of cold air. The feeling was indescribable. If it wasn't for the fact that there were only 20 minutes left before the opening of the evening session, he would definitely kill the demon Kumeng on the spot. Well, many readers said that 20 minutes was enough, but the author felt that the time was not enough, too short. Looking at Kumeng, who looked at him seductively, Chen Changliu bit it. Now he couldn't eat meat, but he could collect some interest first. When the evening session opened, the price of soybeans continued to rise, and the highest price reached 32.53. Chen Changliu sold all his positions at 32.50. Net profit of 170,000. His total assets once again reached 1.15 million. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 67. The plan to make money in the futures market ends. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the following 2 days, Chen Changliu did not gain much in the futures market, because Doi hovered between 3,200 and 3,235 in the futures market during these 2 days. On the evening of the 21st, Chen Changliu bought 310 lots at the average price of 32.21. At the closing time, the price did not rise much, only 32.31. Because the yield was not high, Chen Changliu reluctantly chose to hold the position overnight. As soon as the market opened on the 22nd, D opened directly at the daily limit of 3,319, and judging from the closing situation, it was difficult to open. Chen Changliu hesitated, whether to sell to close the position, but if he sold to close the position, he would have no chance to buy again. After thinking for a day, Chen Changliu finally chose a more conservative and prudent option and closed his position and sold, 32.21 buying, 33.19 selling, a total of 310 lots, a net profit of 300,000, and total assets came to 1.45 million. On the 23rd, the opening price of beans in the morning was 34.17, which was 98 points higher than last night's closing price. When Chen Changliu saw it, he felt a pity. If he hadn't closed the position last night, now he would once you sell it, you can earn another 300,000 yuan, suddenly, Chen Changliu thought. The price has risen so much for 2 consecutive days, but the rare amplitude in history has not yet appeared. Should he take a chance? After making up his mind, Chen Changliu directly switched to short selling and bought 365 lots at 34.20, still leaving 200,000 in his account. After buying, the price of D continued to rise by 2 points, and it stopped at 34.22, after the price of 3,420 jumped repeatedly for more than half an hour. The price of D suddenly fell rapidly. At the close of the morning, it had dropped from a high of 34.22 to 33.88. Chen Changliu breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the bet was right. By the afternoon, Chen Changliu's happiness turned into fear. It was not because the price of D had gone up, but because it had fallen so sharply that it felt a bit unreal to him, when it dropped from 33.88 to 33.18. Everyone thought it could be stopped because it had dropped 100 points compared to the opening price, but no, the price of D continued to drop, and finally fell to 3,220 half an hour before the afternoon closing. It can be said that this afternoon, I don't know how many people had their positions liquidated and were forced to close their positions. They lost a full 200 points. It can really kill people. Chen Changliu ran away at 32.50, and he was scared. This time, he made a full profit of 620,000 from short selling, and his assets once again exceeded 2 million. After selling, Chen Changliu went long and bought 590 lots near 32.31. After the purchase, the entire clothes on Chen Changliu's back were wet. He slumped on the stool. Although he was excited, he was exhausted physically and mentally. He was even more tired than after 3 launches. When Kumeng went home tonight, no one brought him dinner. In the evening, Chen Changliu walked out of the community, ordered a few of his favorite dishes, and had a delicious meal before going home. The price of D rebounded slightly in the evening, and the final closing price was 32.65. Chen Changliu did not close the position and sold it, but continued to hold the position overnight. On the morning of the second day, the opening price of beans was 3,330, which meant that Chen Changliu made another huge profit, but Chen Changliu did not sell. Immediately to close his position, the price of beans was stable throughout the day, with no major fluctuations. But in late trading, the price began to continue to rise, and the final closing price was 34.28. Chen Changliu's long position this time should be the one he made the most. The average price was 3,231 for buying and 34.10 for selling, with a net profit of 1.05 million. His total assets reached 3.1 million. After all positions were closed and sold, Chen Changliu finally breathed a sigh of relief and said to himself, "So much for your plan to make money in the futures market. The increase in the next 2 months will not be as good as in the past 2 months, and he does not know the trend of bean prices in the future, so it is time to give up and leave time to schools and flower growers." The money-making plan in the futures market has accumulated enough original capital for him, and he has also obtained a charming school beauty. This is enough, but one cannot be too greedy. After making the decision, Chen Changliu breathed a long sigh of relief and felt much more relaxed. In the afternoon, Chen Changliu appeared at the flower grower's house. He pushed past Kumeng's office and saw the fairy holding a piece of information and looking at it carefully. She was wearing a professional suit. She was less charming and more professional when she worked seriously. Beauty's temperament. Chen Changliu sat down on her desk. "What are you looking at?" Kumeng smiled when he saw it was Chen Changliu, and then handed him a piece of information. "Mr. Wu gave it to me this morning and asked me to give it to you, a purchase list. I asked the finance department and there is not enough money in the company account." Chen Changliu picked it up and looked at it, then handed it to her and said, "Next Monday I will deposit 1 million into the company's account. This money will be enough until the product is launched. There is also this list. You can verify the content, and at the same time make initial contact with them to get a full understanding of the purchase volume, price, etc." Thinking of leaving so many things to Kumeng, the burden on her was too heavy. She was just an intern. Thinking of this, Chen Changliu paced in the room, and after a while he continued. "Continue to recruit people. We need to improve the company's framework. Now we have enough cash to support us, so we will continue to recruit people. The first test will be mainly you and Brother Bo, and the technical staff will continue to recruit a few outstanding ones. I will give you a recruitment plan for administration and logistics and the job requirements later. You can make a recruitment plan and notify me when the re-examination is held. Okay. After Chen Changliu explained these things to Kumeng, he went back to his office and started to make a plan for the organizational structure of the flower growers. P.S. I will correct the typos first. Chapter 68 The Purpose of Assistant and Secretary's Desk. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Back in his office, Chen Changliu thought about how to establish the company's organizational structure. Now there are less than 20 people in the company together with him. Except for the technical department, everyone else is basically a carrot and a pit. There is no so-called administration, logistics, security, marketing, finance, etc. departments. This is a very simple linear organizational structure commonly used by small businesses, where all employees report directly to the boss. This kind of organizational structure is relatively simple, with vertical management, unified command, clear organizational permissions, clear responsibilities, and a relatively stable organizational structure, with a simple organizational structure and centralized power. It can quickly and uniformly allocate resources to participate in competition and respond quickly to the market. Today's flower growers are almost like this, except that Wu Bo is in charge of the technical department because Chen Changliu doesn't understand technology. Moreover, the only product that flower growers are planning to launch now is MP3, which is suitable for this linear organizational structure, but that's not the case. Chen Changliu can't be in the company every day. Although Kumeng is here as an assistant, she can't make decisions on many things and her abilities haven't been reached yet. He thought about it and decided to establish a linear functional organizational structure. This organizational structure combines the characteristics of the linear organizational structure and the functional organizational structure. It not only maintains the advantages of the linear unified command, but also absorbs the advantages of the functional type in exercising professional management functions. It not only reduces the burden on line managers, but also it leverages the expertise of experts and is a widely adopted form of organizational structure. Under this structure, all marketing strategies can be directly transmitted from the company's senior management to the front line at the first time, so as to complete the marketing tasks. This organizational structure is more suitable for companies with smaller scales, single business relationships, and simple production processes and technical procedures. As for its shortcomings, they are not what Chen Changliu is considering now. The organizational structure of the company is not static at any stage. Chen Changliu wrote on the paper and listed the RD department, marketing and sales department, finance department, administrative management department, etc. It took Chen Changliu one afternoon to complete this plan. Although there were only a few departments, he had many things to consider. Chen Changliu sat down on Kumeng's desk again, and this time went around to sit inside. Kumeng rolled his eyes at him and slapped him on the thigh. You can't be more serious. This is a company. How can there be a company CEO who sits on the assistant's desk all the time like you? He has no image at all. Chen Changliu grabbed her hand that was slapping his thigh, held it in his hand and stroked it, and said with a smile. Senior sister, I am already very serious, okay? Go and ask which boss has such a beautiful assistant and secretary who would still sit on his desk. They must all be female assistants and secretaries working around the clock. Just tell me whether I am serious or not. Listening to Chen Changliu's words, Kumeng immediately imagined the whole scene in his mind, and then his face turned red quickly for some reason. This made Chen Changliu stunned. Senior sister, why are you blushing? No, you can't make up the picture on your own. Do you want to? Having said this, Chen Changliu directly crossed his arms over his chest, making a protective gesture, and directly used his actions to clearly show what he had not said. Senior sister, you are a bad example. They say you should stop watching so many Japanese movies. Hey, wait, I was wrong, ah. 2 minutes later, Chen Changliu continued to breathe cold air, lifted up his clothes to see where he was injured, and murmured in a low voice. A gangster, a female gangster, you are addicted and you still refuse to admit it, huh? If you dare to attack me, you will serve me according to your family's rules when you get back. Kumeng looked at her pretending to be aggrieved and kept reciting Chen Changliu. She smiled happily. When she was with this bastard, she would always be made anxious by him and couldn't help but laugh. Anyway, she was happy. After they finished laughing, Chen Changliu gave the plan he made to Kumeng and asked, "What do you want to eat tonight?" Kumeng took the file and opened it and said, "Not tonight. My grandparents are coming over tonight and I have to go home. As for whether I will go to your place tonight, I am not sure yet." "No, senior sister, you have always left me alone in the vacant room during this period, so you are not afraid that the senior students in the school will snatch me away." Hearing Chen Changliu's words, Kumeng stopped reading the documents, raised his head, looked at him with threatening eyes, but said lightly in a disdainful tone, "Humph, why am I asking you to stay alone in an empty room? It's none of my business. I'm not your real girlfriend. You can go find your girlfriend. Now that I have said it, those women snatched you away. Anyway, you are not mine. At worst, I will find an opportunity to cut you off, so let them snatch it away." Hiss, Chen Changliu felt a chill on his crotch and subconsciously covered it. His actions directly broke Kumeng's defense, and he laughed directly. You are afraid too, hee, please be careful." "Ha, I'm afraid. Just kidding. I don't know who often begs for mercy and often says he's powerless. I remember it very clearly. Chen Changliu. Hey. In the end, Chen Changliu went home alone, but before he got home, he received a call from Li Liang. "Where are you, third child? Come back quickly. We are having a social gathering with Bai Jing's dormitory in dormitory 311 tonight. We will meet in the dormitory at 7 p.m., don't forget it." No, Lao Li, are you sure you want me to participate? What else do you have to do? With my handsomeness, then you have to become Lui. Damn it, Li Liang was speechless. Is this third child so arrogant? But it seems that I can't refute it yet. Li Liang turned on the loudspeaker, but Guo Fan next to him was dissatisfied. "Old Chen, can you speak human language? It's up to you who can catch you. By the way, don't you have a girlfriend? Why, I still want to ride on 2 boats. Hey, Lao Gua, it's okay. It's just that I'm afraid that I'm too handsome and what will happen if people are attracted to me like a moth to a flame. Maid, Lao Chen, why are you becoming more and more narcissistic now? Come here quickly." After speaking, Guo Fan hung up the phone directly, and then looked at each other with helpless expressions on his face. Although the two of them were not ugly, Chen Changliu was just more handsome. Of course they knew that Chen Changliu would definitely steal the limelight, but they still called him, mainly because Chen Changliu is also a member of the dormitory and has a girlfriend. P.S. Correct typos first and then correct them. Chapter 69 Du Zhiqiu arrives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At 6:30, Chen Changliu returned to dormitory 311, and everyone in the dormitory was there, and everyone was cleaning up after themselves. Those who changed their clothes, and those who put on mousse. The most outrageous thing was that Zhao Wuyan got some perfume from somewhere, and even dabbed it on his wrists and behind his ears in a decent way. Guo Fan also put on a shirt, trousers, and leather shoes, and almost didn't put on a tie. Chen Changliu was dumbfounded. Is this his roommate who can wear his uniform for 2 days in a row and can't even wash his clothes until the last piece of underwear and socks? What do you mean by that? It's just a friendship. Zhao Wuyan was fixing his hairstyle and said, "Old Chen, what do you mean? You have a girlfriend, and a well-fed man doesn't know a hungry man is hungry. Let's talk about it first. Don't fight with us tonight, otherwise don't blame us for being rude." Su Liangyu, the little fat man, immediately followed up, "Brother Lu, Brother Yen is right, it's okay if you make green leaves today, remember it." Chen Changliu was speechless. How do I make green leaves? Have you ever seen such handsome green leaves? However, we are roommates. Tonight, I will eat my food quietly. I have agreed in advance that I must be given delicious food. Okay, I'll give you 1 pig whip. If it's not enough, I'll give you 2 to make up for it. Li Liang had already dressed up and took the conversation with a smile. TCH, Lao Li, don't you know I had a nickname in high school? What nickname? A beast among men, hee, no man dares to compete in front of me. They were all men, and they understood immediately upon hearing it, and then 311 sounded a chorus of applause. After 311 went out, Chen Changliu deliberately stayed away from them. He felt a little embarrassed when a bunch of grown men were spraying perfume. Nowadays, we are not like the pretty boys who filled the streets 20 years ago. They don't go out without makeup or perfume. College students in this era are still relatively simple. At this time, Li Liang turned around and shouted, Lao San, what's going on? You're dragging your feet. Hurry up. You'll be late in a while. It's not good for a man to be late. Forehead. Chen Changliu had nothing to say and could only follow. At the school gate, the people from the 2 dormitories finally met. Bai Jing, Zhao Jing, Wang Yanhua, Su Zifeng, Su Yan, and Zhou Ping. Except for Bai Jing and Zhao Jing, no one else could even name Chen Changliu. In his last life, he was also the person who liked to participate least in activities in the class. He worked part-time jobs to earn tuition and living expenses when he had time. After he got a girlfriend by chance, he was so infatuated that he didn't pay much attention to other female classmates who were not beautiful, so he was not impressed by some female classmates who were not very beautiful. His name has been forgotten for so many years, but since the beginning of school in this life, he has skipped more classes than attended classes, and even called him out. The reason why I can recognize Bai Jing and Zhao Jing is because they are considered the most beautiful in the class, so they can still call them by their names. It's no wonder that Chen Changliu only remembers beautiful girls. It should be said that all normal men are like this, unless they are very close to you. Bai Jing and Zhao Jing are both about 85, and they can be considered beauties. They didn't look at the beasts in the dormitory, whether they were upright or secretly. Anyway, more eyes were on them. As for the other people, they are all at about the same level, with a score of around 70. I can only say that they are not ugly, but they cannot be linked to being beautiful. But now Chen Changliu is the same as in his previous life. With Du Zhiqiu and Kumeng in front, neither Bai Jing nor Zhao Jing is enough to arouse his interest, and it is even less possible for others. Most of the 6 girls turned their curious eyes to Chen Changliu. He was the most handsome but also the most low-key boy in the class. He was also the boy who skipped the most classes. It could be said that no one did not know his name. Chen Changliu faced the glances from several female classmates with a faint smile on his face and nodded to them at the same time, even if he had seen them before. However, his smile also made several girls' eyes light up. He was indeed handsome enough. 311 The other beasts saw all this and quickly changed the topic intentionally or unintentionally. Then everyone went to a nearby barbecue stall with private rooms and asked for a private room. After sitting down, Chen Changliu almost laughed. Maid, there are actually men on one side and women on the other. Is this a friendship? You are too timid. After ordering the food and drinks, Bai Jing looked at Chen Changliu and said with a smile, Classmate Chen Changliu, you are the most famous person in our class. Counselor Wu Ling is almost going crazy. Oh, monitor, it's not as exaggerated as you said. I have something to do. I am working part-time to make money. Starting next week, I will definitely be a good student and won't embarrass the counselor and monitor. Lao Gua, you have no respect. A cup for the monitor. Chen Changliu pulled Gua Fanwei out. He didn't want to talk too much about these things. As Chen Changliu pulled Gua Fanwei out and started to toast, the atmosphere in the box began to become lively. The main thing is that a few beasts are vying to express themselves. The girls drink less, while Chen Changliu hides aside and doesn't drink a few glasses of wine. He only focuses on eating. It's just that although he behaves very low-key and doesn't take the initiative to find other people to drink, girls find him, including Bai Jing and Zhao Jing. They look at Chen Changliu from time to time and occasionally drink with him. This made Zhao Wuyan very happy. After Bai Jing asked Chen Changliu to clink glasses again, Zhao Wuyan turned his eyes and said, Monitor, don't you know, Chen Changliu has a girlfriend. I heard from Lao Li and others that she is very beautiful, even more beautiful than you and Zhao Jing. Zhao Wuyan's words directly changed the faces of the female classmates in the box, especially Bai Jing and Zhao Jing, who all looked at Chen Changliu. It's not that they are interested in Chen Changliu, but mainly because Zhao Wuyan's words that he is more beautiful than Bai Jing aroused their pride. Zhao Jing smiled and said, I can't tell, Chen Changliu, you actually have such a beautiful girlfriend, but she is more beautiful than the class monitor. I really want to meet her. Otherwise, introduce us to each other. Well, it's okay. It's really pretty, but I don't know if it's as pretty as the class monitor and Zhao Jing. I'm a little face blind. Damn, hearing this, everyone in the room was not calm. What is pretty? What is face blind? Today is Friday, and there is no class tomorrow. Chen Changliu is hidden. Call her out and introduce her to us. Maybe she has gone home. Another day, I will definitely introduce her to you. Before she finished speaking, Chen Changliu's mobile phone rang. He took out his mobile phone and saw that it was Du Zhiqiu calling. When everyone in the room saw his phone ring, they immediately fell silent. Everyone looked at him. Chen Changliu had no choice but to answer the call. As soon as the call was connected, Du Zhiqiu's voice came immediately. Guess where I am? Chen Changliu was a little confused. It seemed that he had said this before. You came to our school. Hee, not stupid. I'm at the gate of your school. Come and pick me up. Du Zhiqiu hung up directly after saying that. Chen Changliu was speechless. How did he learn to attack suddenly? Put away the phone, and saw everyone looking at him. Although they couldn't hear what was said, the voice was indeed a young girl. Okay, my girlfriend is coming to see me, so I'll introduce her to you. I'll go pick her up first. After saying that, he left the box. Hearing Chen Changliu's words, everyone became interested. 311 was curious about what Bai Jing couldn't see the rear taillights. Bai Jing and Zhao Jing were full of fighting spirit. After all, they were said to be not as beautiful as others, and they were still dissatisfied with the beauty with 85 points. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 70 The beautiful scenery in front of the University of Finance and Economics. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance of the University of Finance and Economics, all the students coming in and out slowed down their pace unconsciously, and everyone's eyes were looking in the same direction. On the left side of the entrance, a person was wearing a blue striped long-sleeved shirt, but the sleeves of the shirt were different from traditional shirts. The sleeves were slightly higher at the wrists, and they were designed to be loose and tied, with a fluffy fashion sense at the intersection of the tied hands. She was wearing a handsome black vest on the outside, with 4 white buttons on each side of the vest. She was wearing 9-point black straight-leg casual pants on her lower body, white shoes on her feet, and her slender thighs were fully displayed. Her whole outfit was full of a fresh atmosphere, coupled with her delicate facial features. And a head of hair just over her shoulders, which was directly beautiful. It also became a beautiful landscape at the entrance of the University of Finance and Economics. This person was Du Zhiqiu. She stood at the entrance, curiously looking at the passing students. She wanted to feel Chen Changling's learning and living environment, but her appearance also made the students coming in and out walk slower than usual, and there were many boys standing around. Hiss, this girl is so pretty. Is she from our school? How come I don't know? Does anyone have this girl's information? I can share my stock of exquisite Japanese love action movies with him. Anyway, everyone at the entrance of the entire University of Finance and Economics focused their attention on Du Zhiqiu. Du Zhiqiu has been accustomed to being the object of attention since junior high school, so these things can no longer affect her mentality. It's just that from time to time, some students who feel good come up to her and chat with her, which still makes her very annoyed. After politely rejecting a student who wanted a QQ number, Du Zhiqiu pouted. Why hasn't this guy come yet, humph? Dead guy. Just when Du Zhiqiu was complaining about him in her heart, Chen Changliu had already seen her. The moment he saw Du Zhiqiu, even with Chen Changliu's concentration, he was still stunned for a moment. mainly because Du Zhiqiu's outfit was too elegant and beautiful. Even if it was placed in the future 20 years later, it would still be a trend. It seems that some dressing concepts that he instilled in her in those 2 months made her have her own understanding of her own dressing. Thinking of this, Chen Changliu shook his head again. What was he thinking? Beautiful women look good in anything. Ugly women look bad even without clothes and without turning off the lights. This is the essence of the matter. Chen Changliu walked towards Du Zhiqiu, and the people watching the excitement saw that someone approached him again, and they had already given him a fruitless ending. Even though Chen Changliu was handsome, his clothes looked like street stall goods worth only a few dozen yuan, and his overall temperament was obviously completely incompatible with Du Zhiqiu, who was dressed in a fresh and trendy style. But soon, all the onlookers dropped their eyes to the ground. The moment the stunning beauty standing at the school gate saw Chen Changliu, the smile on her face that made people feel distant at first glance suddenly bloomed and turned into a sweet and brilliant smile. Everyone was shocked by the beauty of this girl again. What Ziwei, Xiaoyanzi, go away, they are really not as beautiful as this one. What made the people watching the excitement even more stunned was that while showing a sweet and bright smile, the beauty actually trotted towards the guy who was walking towards him. Could it be that they know each other? That's right, they might be brother and sister. After all, the man is handsome and the woman is beautiful, so this is very likely. This was the unanimous voice of the men around, but this voice collapsed and shattered a few seconds later, because the beauty actually threw herself into his arms. That was fine, but while throwing herself into his arms, she also gently kissed the lips of this guy who looked a so-so. Yes, Chen Changliu, who was still a handsome guy in the eyes of the people around him, has now become just a so-so. Du Zhiqiu's light kiss directly hit all the men who were lucky enough to be hit hard, which showed that the two were definitely in a relationship, and definitely not a brother and sister relationship, because a brother and sister relationship would at most kiss the forehead or cheek, and it would not be possible to kiss the lips, and it must be European and American, and a brother and sister relationship in China would not be like this. Oh my God, who is this guy? My first love just appeared and it's gone. It's definitely a flower stuck in cow dung. That guy is not as handsome as me. I finally saw what it means to be a pig digging cabbage. Chen Changliu didn't care what others said. After Du Zhiqiu kissed him, he took her hand and said as they walked. You came at the right time. Our dormitory is getting together with other girls' dormitories. They are just urging me to call them girlfriends, and you called. Let's go, let them see what a fairy is, hee. Du Zhiqiu didn't feel nervous when he heard Chen Changliu say that he would take him to meet his roommates and classmates. He was very mentally stable because he was getting more attention from others, but after hearing Chen Changliu's proud and boastful tone at the end, she rolled her eyes at him and said coquettishly. You are not a decent person. Also, you didn't tell me about the party with the girls in the dormitory. What's the matter? Do you have any ideas? Tell me and I will give you some advice. Another, why didn't you wear the clothes I bought for you? Do you dislike them? After hearing Du Zhiqiu's words, a dangerous atmosphere had already begun to brew. As long as he gave a bad answer, he would definitely suffer. How dare I? I'm not going out for a part-time job today. I'm afraid it will get dirty. I can't bear to part with it. This is a gift from you, hee. As for the social gathering, I didn't know anything about it. My roommate called me on the way back from my part-time job today to inform me. According to what they said, I was just there to be a supporting role, hee. Besides, I can look up to them. I'm kidding. My wife is the prettiest. They can't even see your taillights. Hearing Chen Changliu's cheesy words, Du Zhiqiu slapped his hand in annoyance, but the arrogant expression and smile on her face betrayed her heart, which was an excuse to believe him. Wear it when you need it in the future. The clothes you buy are meant to be worn. If they break, I'll buy you another one. Chen Changliu knew Du Zhiqiu very well. In fact, she would not show this arrogant expression in front of outsiders. It would only appear when she was with him. In fact, it was almost the same as acting like a spoiled child. P.S. The typos will be corrected later.